We're starting.
It says it's recording, but I don't know why I don't have any audio whatsoever. So that's all right. And there's nobody online, so it's just us in the room.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, guys, and welcome our guests. And I understand that our guests, we have Lynn, we have Eric, and we have David. Is that right? Okay, and they're here for item 5C on our agenda, and it's in relation to, is it 116 Westlake?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, very good. So we do have a quorum. And in fact, we have 100% attendance. So minutes, did you guys get a chance to look at the minutes? You okay with the minutes?
Yep.
Then,
I so moved to accept the minutes as printed.
thank you, Larry. You need a second.
Second.
Eric seconded it. Thank you.
Knock.
Knock, knock.
Knock.
Come on in. Oh, we got to find some more chairs.
Let's put down.
Is this Rob's office?
Yes. Yes.
I am last. Yeah, me too. There you go. Oh, listen, we got more chairs than can.
So that's
20% of good. So, and this is the roundhouse. Okay. That's good. Check it out.
What was your last name? ALLRED. And this is Lori Glock. LORI.
Don't forget the E.
IE.
Okay, welcome, Drew.
GLAUTH.
Welcome, guys. Okay,
And you have the architectural.
okay.
My architect.
So
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Just over here.
let's just go around the room and introduce ourselves so that it's, so Lynn, I'll ask you to start.
My name is Lynn Griffith Murray, and the cabin you're dealing with was the Griffith camp, my parents and the grandparents. So it goes back into the 20s.
Okay, great, thank you.
Eric Murray. Okay, still.
With those
Our
two.
son.
Okay,
David, right.
Murray. Okay, mom, dad, and son, got it.
David, your turn.
Dave Langley, architect local and member of the committee.
My name is Angelica and I am with Great Outdoors Adventures.
Thank you, Angelica.
And I'm Drew with Great Outdoors.
Thank you.
I'm Eric Simonson. I work for Rampart Surveys.
Linda Allred, architect, member of the committee.
Lori Block, member of the committee.
Good to see you.
Larry Black, long-time resident.
And member of the committee.
Member of the committees. Resident as Woodland for 60 years.
60-year club. Right, Karen.
I'm Karen Schmink, the planning director here at the City of Woodland Park.
Okay,
And then in the corner,
Hi, I'm Amy Rowland and I'm the permit tech and I take the minutes. I'm just a fly on the wall.
and she does a fabulous job of taking our minutes as well. Okay,
Schmink, SCH.
up there on the screen, if that helps you, Lynn.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, did we approve the minutes? We did, didn't we, guys?
We did.
And then I backed up to introduce everybody. Okay, we don't have any public hearings today. Work plan discussion, we don't have any additional work plan discussion based on, to my knowledge, of where we left off with CJ last month. Is that everybody's recollection? Okay,
So
so
we
we
could just go down to the guests,
yeah.
so they don't have to go through.
So I'm gonna stop there, Larry. I was gonna
would like
stop
to
there.
Stop there and go right to their questions. They had questions.
Well,
They-
other under,
And who's who as the happening.
okay.
So I don't know what
So-
their questions are. So
Is everybody okay if we jump ahead on the agenda? And
Yes,
so we'll go to our guests.
yes.
And I'd like to go to these folks first on the 116 West Lake property, with
Yes.
answer their questions with
Yes.
the application. And then we'll go to Drew and Angelica. Does that sound good? Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay, so with that in mind, I don't know who would like to present what you're looking for to apply for the designation, or you have a bunch of questions about it.
Well-
Fire away.
We're here actually for information.
Okay,
I don't know too much about it. I'm familiar with some of the properties. This was, wasn't it a survey? Well, actually, we went through this a little bit several years ago.
mhm,
And, I don't remember if we didn't qualify for that time or what it was. But at any rate, I have all papers which may or may not have changed. But, it says your property may qualify for this designation.
and that was a letter sent out this year.
This was
correct?
2008.
This was 2008. So
Sally
There was
Riley.
another one.
from Sally, so do we know if this property was included in the recognizance survey?
It was.
Okay,
Okay,
uh-huh,
and I don't know that we have any information from that, but I'm really not sure about even what questions to ask. I'd just like to know what you've mentioned some things, advantages of doing this with property. And as I say, I'm familiar with the Maytag property, and I remember something about it that went to the preservation group. And I was pleased to see that instead of having that built up into 6 or 8 houses.
mhm,
The Carrolls, my parents knew. I was not aware that it was on here. Rick McVeigh,
mhm.
I think his property is on the other Brookstone property, which I remember as a little girl. But at any rate, why, maybe you could just tell me about something about when you all started and how many properties you have and what the advantages are, whoever wants to.
But the committee was formed back in, was actually, the city council charged us with becoming committee, and I believe it was I want to say 1994-ish. The committee was actually formed in the year 2000, and it was formed in 94 specifically to save what we refer to as the Brazen Head building.
Oh,
Which, the Brazen Head building, which happens to now be Great Outdoors Home as well, okay? So the whole idea was CDOT was gonna raise the building. And instead, the council designated it, formed this committee at the last, intervened to force CDOT to go around it. It was primarily the reason that this committee was formed back in the 90s. Then it finally got around in the year 2000 to seating us as a formal committee. So we've been a formal committee since the year 2000. Local designation being plus recognizance surveys. We've done 2 with matching grants through the course of the last 26 years. And I believe we have 12 or 13 properties, 15 properties on the list at this point in time. And those designations can be put on a property and taken off a property quite easily. It does not, you made a comment about the Maytag property. Those folks visited with us several times, and they specifically were talking about shingle material, suggested colors, gutters. We just had an overall discussion because of their interest in their level of what level that they wanted to restore it. But we have nothing to do with if they want to break it up and build additional properties on that lot. A designation does not prevent that, nor encourage that. And so we as a committee aren't involved in that at all. That's planning and there's a misnomer with historical preservation groups that we tie people's hands and we make their life miserable or can make their life miserable. This particular committee has taken baby steps over the years, and we don't do that because personal property rights are very important. And we're to be here to assist, plus help people understand what dollar and grant opportunities might be available from the state level and what level of historical designation they might qualify for. So local designation is the basic place of where you start. And we do have an application process and you can go through and get it landmarked. If you sold your property, in fact, I think we have an example of a piece of property over here that was a casino at one time. Has the people who had it, we designated it, the owners wanted it designated, and then I believe there was a research done on what they would have to do. Were their hands tied to do any additional work on it or to do anything? And please, you guys jump in if I'm misstating something. And they were concerned that they couldn't do something, and that was not the case whatsoever. I do believe they still have the designation on the building, but we did not preclude anything or reject anything that they wanted to do. In fact, Dave, being here for years and being an architect, had been involved with the restoration of that building and the logs. And we knew that there were some logs in the backside that were compromised, if I remember correctly, and needed to be replaced and so on and so forth. So Dave could be a resource as a private architect as well as to just help with that process. So the main advantages of a local designated landmark is dollars that might be associated with
There's not a lot of grant opportunities for residential,
right now.
privately owned properties. That, really, one of the biggest advantages is getting that local landmark is seeing the plaque on the side of your house and people walk by and see that history is respected in this community. But as a residential private owner, there's not a lot of money that's available through the state of Colorado. It's more a prestigious kind of thing to have that designation. It doesn't restrict you in any way to what you do, though. However, you can still do whatever you want. Inside the building, there's no restrictions. And outside the building, you're only restricted if you do get money from the state, then the state's going to say, this is how you should use that money. But if you don't ask the state for money, it does not limit what you do to your property at all. So the designation is really more an honorary kind of thing, a local designation. It's just more, there you go. We've had this building here. It's been here since the 1920s, and it's not going anywhere.
And we value it. Because, okay. So, okay. And so,
Excuse me, sure.
so your property, I'm sorry if you guys didn't get a copy of the recognizance survey that was done by the historian. We should probably try to get you a copy of that. That was done.
Actually, I don't think you.
We may have it,
Okay, because it
I think
was,
that's it right there.
Yeah, I think it was there. It just, time elapsed and it got put into a.
I think.
Into
No,
a drawer.
it's literally right under your fingers,
This one?
right there.
That's the.
okay,
I know that we got something,
Yeah.
which I wasn't even sure what it came.
okay, so that's the result of the grant that we had when we did the recognizance survey of. We did two separate ones here in the community, and I think. I don't remember the exact numbers. One of them might have included maybe about 30 properties, and another one might have included approximately that number of properties. And what we tried to do was group them together in like, for example, we did cabins that had a certain type of clapboard siding or type of thing when we picked out those. And we also used, when we picked those years ago, at that time, 50 years and older, and we had some other deadlines because, or guidelines, because we didn't have a lot of money to get started. So I do know we successfully did 2 surveys. I just don't remember the exact years, but it's been a while since we've been able to, because they were matching grants and at the time the city
It
had
has
money.
been a little more on it than I have. I really hadn't considered it too much, but anyway, that's good to know.
And in a perfect world too, we would be able to honor those properties, highlight them on walking tours or point them out to people or to visitors or to things like that. Because Woodland Park has one of the reasons that we've been highlighted is because of the type of log cabins we have. And there is a great a number of cabins that are a great example of that certain, what's the word? That type of siding that we have, but, like you guys' cabin.
Well,
It's,
Slab.
it's a slab siding and a lot of it still has the bark on it,
Yeah.
you know, type of thing.
some of it does.
And that is, we have an unusual number of percentage wise than most communities in Colorado. And so that was one of the biggest things to highlight. So, you know, we've done projects as a committee like chimneys. If you look around the different chimneys at some of the different cabins, they're also very unique to the area and what's native flagstone and things of that nature. So our goal was to build kind of a library of what is here. It's so easy to tear things down.
Sure.
So I have a question on this sheet. They have a statement here where marked in red.
What's it say?
Maintenance and upkeep of the structure is required with landmark designation, which protects the appearance and value of the property. It's not hardcore in any way. Larry's actually involved with, doing a survey every year. And he sort of just looks at the properties, you know, and makes suggestions. But even properties that are owned by the UPass Historic Society and the city, you know, it's still in their purview to make that maintenance, and it's usually nothing more than, oh, you use a little bit of paint on your windowsills or something of that nature.
Yeah, because I was thinking slabs. I've run into, we go up to the place up there on 67.
Casey's lumber.
And they said they can't get that stuff anymore. The bark falls off
Mhm.
and it's too thick.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried to use,
Yeah,
so it'd be there very difficult to replace.
yeah, no,
Anytime.
we're a friendly bunch here.
We understand the challenges that way. The biggest thing is if there's broken out windows or screen doors coming off the hinges, or it's obvious that vagrants have moved in, well, there's a problem. It's really just a real flyover top level. Is it still in decent habitable shape? Are people living there? You know,
Well, I think it's been well maintained.
Yes.
And the outside looks a little rugged, but I've grown to kind of like that slab because you don't have to paint it or stain it or
Right.
anything, so.
that's kind of unique.
It's okay, but
Mhm.
the original cabin was what, 1899 when that was built.
Mhm.
And then the other half of it was later. But anyway, protection, I'm kind of interested in that because we have been encroached on by the road, as you know, and now the parking places. And now we have a sign out there for something about an old dog highway, which I am very opposed to. I don't like it there. If it's in the park, okay. I don't know who put it up. It's recently gone up. And I feel as though we don't have parking down in the other blocks, just where we are. And I know I speak for the other owners on that block in that it's not fun when we go up there or when we have our family up there for the summer to be looking at, well, what's up there right now? A trailer.
Got a lot of, yeah, a lot of big trucks and trailers that seem to be there, and I think what would be curious is, would a designation allow us conversation with the city when the city wants to do things like, it's road improvements and other items? Does that give us access? Because quite frankly, we were shut out in the conversations. And after approaching the city many times, the voice was not heard. And so does this designation offer a voice in some way of saying, okay, if we think that this is an important asset, a valuable thing to the community, then, you know, how do we keep it?
If you apply for a designation, it goes before us.
Yeah.
And of course, from us, it goes to council for final approval. So if council steps up and approves it, it kind of says that they value it, doesn't it? In which case, then would you have a conversation with them about the importance of the things you're talking about in terms of those values, it kind of puts you on maybe a little different footing.
See, I think that's right. And I can't say that it would ultimately change things,
Right.
but maybe there would have been some collaboration that took place that would have mitigated, the worst of it, okay?
And
that's what
an
we're,
awareness piece,
Yeah.
because councils, like any, turnover.
right,
And some have been here longer than others. And so education seems, in my personal opinion, is a constant and needs to constantly occur for folks that haven't been here 60 years to know what's going on.
yeah, no, I feel that would have occurred had we had it, but I think we wanted to hear it from the committee that it may not solve all problems, but at least it would get your voice at the table.
It seems that you, in my mind, by going to council, you put them on the spot to actually recognize the property having some value to the community and designating it. And if they designate it, then with issues. So 116 West Lake is
Right across the park,
it's right across the park.
and that's the beauty of it, and
And that's where they put some parking, they put some parking places
They
there.
had to put the parking in there. Would have been
And the
okay.
thing was that when the road was being proposed to be repaved,
Mhm.
there was a city engineer. You tell them.
I came over here, I don't know how many times to speak to the man, call. And later find out, well, he doesn't work here anymore. Why would you tell me that he's busy,
Just
or
busy.
he's out to lunch or whatever? And not just say, well, we don't have one.
And then
We still don't.
the people or the lady who was in there said, well, this is done, but it can be redone later. So we're gonna go ahead with it. But our driveway is an issue for us because I can hardly see over the car to come up over I have to come in at an angle anyway because there's a big tree there. I don't see very well over the car to get in, but I do. I mean, I can do it. We only have a front entrance. That's all we have.
Back.
So, and we know what happened as far as the survey and so forth in there now. And they're just, I think was not adequate over, what would you say?
There was,
Oversight, yeah. And so anyway, now we have these 3 or 4, and Connie is affected next door to us also because we own the vacant lots on that side, the cabin, and then on the other side, which I think most of you would know that. Connie doesn't, so all they have is a driveway they share at this point. But when cars and little cars aren't so bad, but you get these cars, one of them parked out there for, 2 or 3 days one time. And he was just,
yeah, I
living
can
in
tell
his
you, I've been
place.
here for 3 days and I've had more than my share of big pickups and trailers that have been in front. Now, the bigger issue, I think, is, as I understand it, the reason for expanding that road was safety. As I watched over the summer, there wasn't any focus on safety, to create space so that emergency vehicles could get through during busy periods. And yet,
On both sides.
that's not really happening. This brings me back to the purpose of the meeting. And the purpose of the meeting isn't so much to complain about it, it's to say, all right, if there's a designation, does that give us the voice? And what I hear you saying is, yeah, before new things take place, we can get in there and at least have a conversation with the city. And I think that's what is really the most important. I mean, I can't go back now and change it, although, Karen, I'd love to. But, going forward, if we could do it, I think that it would be helpful. I think the concerns also have been, if there's a designation, we want to get out of it for some reason, we can do so. And I think you've answered that question. My understanding on the designations are you have local, which is pretty loose. You have a state, which is a little bit more strict if there's money that, grant money that flows into it. And then you have federal designation, which is never going to happen, and that's incredibly strict. So we just put a new roof on, okay? With the new roof, there's some vents. It's not historical, Larry. I can't give it to you.
You don't have to have an old roof or whatever with there.
Yeah, it looks good. It's same color.
No, it looks fine, yeah.
Another 50 years.
What you're looking for is that it's not dilapidated.
Well, even dilapidated buildings can be designated.
Oh, yeah, they can.
Yeah, I mean, the historic value doesn't matter. If it's historic, it's historic in any condition.
So my understanding from conversations with Larry last year was that you have a number of historic designations, but this is unique in that you don't have residential unless something has changed.
Of the summer cabin,
Of the
a
summer.
summer cabin per se, we have many business buildings and we have the Maytag house. And yes, we have, you know, there's a couple cabins, but not just where people came for the summer. Most of these places that are designated, people were living there year round. And you'd be the first where it's just a summer and then closed up for the season.
Well, it isn't winterized, so you don't have a choice.
Let me give you an example. There's some cabins over here towards 67. And that area is called Preacher's Row. And there's probably,
There's summer cabins.
there's summer
They
cabins.
go
but there's
back
like-
to the 30s.
Yeah, and there's like 4 or 6 of them, something like that over in that area. And so if we, 5, okay, so if we were to do another recognizance survey and we wanted to designate that area, and we also have another area I'll use as an example, Dallas Alley, I believe. And there are some properties there. So if we were able to afford another recognizance survey, and we identified some areas like that, it's kind of like Lake Avenue has several homes that are of that same vintage of you folks as with that same type of siding, which would be kind of cool. We could hone in on specific things. So down the road, if we were to ever have an opportunity to designate some areas, you know, we may have some opportunity down the road to do something like that, but we would have an interest in expanding those that we've done surveys on, because we really, all this information goes to the assessor's office, it goes on file with those guys. So that in perpetuity, that history is there. And so that's the other advantage of a local designation.
So if you were to put a little plaque or whatever out there, what kind of information would you have? When it was built?
They're very simple, and the design, it's about like this big. And it's fashioned after a logo, a city above the clouds. It's kind of got an arch on the top of it. This is the one we've used in the past. And it usually says, we identify it with a name. And if it's your family name or whatever, and we put circa or built and the year, and that's it. Something of that nature.
We have a brass plaque.
It's a brass.
And you put that at the property line?
We usually put it on the structure itself off to one of the sides of the front door, so for example. Left
So
or
you
right.
get some of their side guys, so. Living in your house. Trying to read some.
Well, maybe we can do something else, put it somewhere else. I don't know. We can be flexible there too. But I think that's what we've
Yeah.
done as a basic rule of thumb. Yeah. Type of thing.
Okay.
But Karen, do you have anything to add on what these folks are concerned about or?
I don't. I mean, we're more than happy to take in your application and help you go through the process. Because once we get an application, we make sure it's complete. We do send out for referrals to like the Main Street, the DDA, if you're within the DDA boundary. But anyhow, any feedback we get on having it designated, that all goes into a staff report that then gets routed for a public hearing in front of this group that then makes a recommendation on your request. And then that goes to city council. And since it's designated by an actual ordinance, there's a first reading of the ordinance in front of city council. And then about 2 weeks later is when the public hearing happens. in front of city council when they make a final decision.
And the timeline on that, give or take.
A good 60 days, depends on when your application comes in, timing it with other meetings and stuff, so 60 to 90 days.
Quick.
Ish.
This is what the plaque looks like if you wanna see one. It's the one in our building.
Okay, Drew.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, and I'd have to check up on this, but, as I'm sitting here thinking, the one opportunity that may be available to you, and I will confirm it, is for private owners, residential owners would be, this thing called tax credits. So in the event, if you have a designation, in the event, 2 years from now, you have to replace your furnace or something of that sort. Or you decide to winterize and insulate from the inside. As opposed to them giving you money to do that, you would get it in the form of tax credits. So,
That's a whole application process with the state though, right?
yes,
Okay.
it's through the state. It would be through the state. It's not an easy process. But depending on what your property taxes or your taxes to the state are, it can be significant. It can be a significant amount of money if you follow the due diligence to track it. But at some point, if you decide to do this, I can look into that for you more. And if you ever do come along, that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's been well maintained. Yeah, I wish we'd known about this about 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was not cheap.
last week?
Yeah,
$3,000.
so it's in pretty good shape, but the point is
I
made.
think
that
there
there's-
are some funding opportunities, not in the form of giving you money to actually do it, but in the of reimbursement through tax credits.
Well, listen, you guys have a lot to do. I don't know if you have questions, but I just want to share a little bit of information if you don't have any questions. Okay, you good? This is a fun place. We had no idea about it. I thought I would share. Got a chance to meet Steve Platt. And
yeah.
yeah, and he did a little bit of research on it that we didn't know. So cabin was built in 1899. We don't know what happened between 1899 and when it was purchased by Dame Morgan. But home of suffragettes, home of famous musicians that we've tracked, home of movie stars, TV stars who acted with Bob Hope and Jack Benny and some other interesting folks. And then it was purchased in 1921 by my great grandmother, and it's been in the family since. So it's been in the family for 100.
So there's 22 years in there with some history that you folks have found out.
So that Steve helped us
That
with.
Steve helped you with.
Now, if Steve is correct, and I think we need to do a little checking, but I was
He's
in.
usually correct.
He's very correct.
Well,
In fact, he's a stickler for those facts, yeah.
if he is correct, then in Paris, next to the Invalides, which is where Napoleon is entombed, multiple times, is a army museum, French army museum. And at the museum, there are all kinds of plaques of the Croix de Guerre. That's their equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Okay, and again, if Steve is correct, this was one of the owners of the cabin.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this was the one.
Oops. Lost it. Uh-oh.
Thank you.
We're lost then.
Okay,
You did.
Cool.
Let me find that, but I was not expecting to come across that, but when we did.
Name was what, Danae or Morgan?
Yeah.
DANNE.
I have to get the exact.
Well, I was just going, what was on the plaque?
Yeah,
for-
that
for
was on
Amy
the
for the
plaque.
minutes.
I just don't remember that being the exact name that Steve saw.
Okay, but on the plaque in Paris,
The
it's
DANNE, that's
Morgan, MORGAN.
AN. And
You're welcome, Amy.
DANNE Morgan, okay? And not only this, but she was a two-time. Okay,
Where?
she went
Really?
over during World War I. And assisted with Red Cross. Okay. She went back over in World War II. She's the only woman to have been awarded, at least at that time. So this cabin has some fun history.
That's fun. That's cool.
And just thought we would share that with you.
And we'd be able to build on that since Steve's got it. Yeah, it's that story going. We can help run with that.
I do want to make sure that that is the same person,
Sure.
but you know, I have no reason to believe that Steve's research is not correct.
No, he's quite persnickety about being accurate.
Right.
He will.
One of the owners, well, the wife of the owner, I'm spacing on her name right now, was, what is it, Martha Morgan, or there was a TV show in the 40s, 50s, radio and TV. And yeah, she was the nosy neighbor and went out to Hollywood and was that. So the cabin is an interesting place and we just thought we should.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Very cool.
Well, I sure suggest you file the application. It's with 1899, I think should be on your plaque, not certain, 1920. It goes back that far, and that is in itself, even for the location and the heritage, I think it's, I behoove you to do it.
I don't know how many families in Woodland Park have a history here, but it's kind of fun. It's not a permanent history, and that's always kind of strange for me because we kind of come in and we go out. But
We're a very
we've been there.
transient community, historically. Yeah.
Thank you for
Yes.
coming.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Did we answer your questions?
Yeah,
Did we
you have
help?
questions?
Yes, I think that.
Okay, I hope you follow through. We're happy to help.
My pleasure. I'm here all summer. I know I'll see Larry.
We'll see you.
Come on by. Look, see-
We'll see you.
Eric, could you be so kind as to,
If you have
Contact him.
Steve Plute's,
Sure.
if you have Steve Plute's contact information, he'd be happy to help you with that application.
Oh, I've got it, yeah.
Yeah, just give him a call.
Marie, is 602 513 0307.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
all right.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you so
decision
much.
maker here.
Okay.
Hey, Lynn, thank you.
That's right.
Bye. Nice meeting you guys.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
all right, guys, have a good afternoon.
And Drew, you may want to change chairs, because I'm sure that little metal thing's getting a bit hard.
We want to do all the best next.
That's the chair's prerogative.
What?
You do the next guest and then do a meeting.
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna keep you guys moving. Yeah,
112.
No, that's just 116.
that was just 116,
They
yeah.
know 112, they know.
Oh, that's
their
what she was talking
neighbors from
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. So Angelica and Drew own the old Raisinhead building that we all know about
Yes.
as well.
And she was huge.
And you guys are looking to do some remodel, basically kind of outside. And I do know that Will Brown came to us back when he had it. And Dave, do you remember this? Will sat down with our committee and we talked about the outside stuff. And that's when he was remodeling it for the hospital or for the doctor's office.
No concerns about finishes, particularly regarding installations.
Yeah, and stuff like that. We just visited with him to help give him some ideas, if I remember correctly, right? That's been quite a few years ago. So jump in, guys.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear the overview of kind of what the purpose of the committee was, and that helped me have a better vision of what your purpose is. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing research on the property since we purchased it. We actually have the property under a different other company as Great Outdoors Holdings, just so you know. You ever see different names that use them as a real estate holdings company. Not Great Outdoors Adventures. Great Outdoors Adventures leases the space
From Great Outdoors
Holdings, right? Just so that there's no confusion on that. And we did just recently apply for a DDA grant, we were awarded that with the intent to do some improvements on the highway facing side of the building there. That really has been a backdoor for a long time, hasn't really been cared for. And it's really the historic entrance to the building, my understanding. I think, did you work on the new entrance there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's our main entrance now, so, anyway, that's kind of what we know about it. It doesn't look like anybody's done any maintenance on that building in 50 years, so. Maybe it's been more recent than that, but.
You visited, when you first got the building too, I think you visited with Steve about some of the history, is that right?
Yes, we had
Right.
lunch with Steve, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of helped fill you in on a little bit of the
Yeah,
background.
I've actually been working on chronological history, not only of who the owners have been, but also who the occupants have been.
Mhm.
Because that's kind of a very much more complex part of it, right?
Yeah.
So, and the Historical Society's been helping me with some of that, along with Steve
with
as
Steve,
well, but, anyway, do you have any other thoughts yourself?
The only thing is, we really love the building, just, I mean, it feels it. Once you walk in that building, you can definitely feel the history in that building. Every rock, everything, the chimney, it's just amazing.
Along with the ghosts.
Everything else is inside there, but it just, it's one of the things that we feel that we can do something about it. And that makes it very exciting because it just kind of see it just makes me like, wow, this is gonna come up to life.
So very active ghost or just idle?
Well, Angelica's had experience, I
I'm
haven't, but
curious.
she can tell you if she wants.
Yeah, no, it's not, I mean, it doesn't really, isn't that active, but I
You feel something?
have seen it.
Oh, okay.
actually. Yeah. Yeah, so it just in the morning, one morning walk in and I opened, it was all light off. And so I thought it was one of my employees in the backside. Cause I only can see at the back of that tall silhouette. And I would say, good morning, how are you? And I kept walking, but my dog stood up right there and he's staring at. And I say, Fisher, keep walking. And went right to my office. Came back and I said, I'm gonna turn the lights on and I could say, hey, what are you doing here so early? And there's nobody there. So it was one of those things, I was like, oh, okay, better visit. It was,
Well, so you guys, you're interested in just getting some input from us in terms of,
Yeah. Well, we want to keep filling in the history on the property. We would like to complete that project. We have met with Vicky next door also, and she has a lot of great documentation about, because of course,
the whole library.
the old library
Yeah.
and this building used to be the same property. I think you all know that. So, but she was showing me some of the photos, family photos that she's collected from the families that have owned the property in the past. And I even had a call from a gentleman at Texas that was in his 70s, and he said, when I was a little boy, I used to sit on the porch over there of the library building, and my grandfather, I think it was grandfather was, I think it was when it was the White Star Inn, and actually recorded his message to me because I said, I want to keep this oral history because I might not ever talk to you again. And anyway, he was telling stories of his childhood being on the property. His grandfather was the cook and the entertainer. I think it was probably the White Star Inn, but it was before Brazen Head probably. Anyway, so we're just, collecting more historical information is of interest. We would like to display that. We'd like to celebrate that. We'd even like to, if you guys ever want to have any kind of event at the property, I even talked to Vicky about that next door. And I think it would be really neat to have some type of an event related to the history of it. And a lot of people have told us they have an attachment to the Brazen Head is what they remember, right? Because the things before that, probably those folks aren't around anymore, but anyway, all of the Brazen Head history and experiences and everything. Anybody get Brazen Head memories there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it had quite the, it had the dance floor and the fireplace and the bar and the tables and all that's changed, of course. But
Yeah.
the one thing that many people are still looking for is way up on the hill. Steep was the Brazen Head sign. And nobody's been able to find what happened to it.
There was
It ended up in some dump or
Or
that's
someone
some-
just took it.
someone just took it, but it was probably had
It was a lighted sign.
Was it really?
A lighted sign, you think of the time for a lighted sign on the highway.
Yeah, very ahead of its time, probably, yeah.
wow.
Yeah. There used to be one, I think, on the roof line also,
Mhm.
that said Brazen Head as well, so I've seen some of those pictures.
Oh, the
Anyway,
Bradenville looks
yeah.
like for a while.
We're really excited, like Angelica said, to have the property. We always envisioned when we started our business, we started our business from scratch here in Woodland Park. We were a startup company. And one of our visions was what would be the ideal property for us to have eventually. It was a historic log building with a nice landscape, and, you know, nice highway visibility. Because we're really in the scenic touring business. You know, a lot of people think we're just in the go out and rip it up business. We actually avoid that as much as we can. It's not good for business. We're really in the scenic touring business, right? But you know, small businesses are tough in Woodland Park, so having highway visibility and a beautiful building, vehicles on displays really helps add to our value, right? But yeah, when we were able to purchase the property, we were very excited about and a little bit overwhelmed with the process of how do we now do all this 50 years of deferred maintenance on this property? So we're kind of just starting that process, first educating ourselves and knowing what we should do and how we should best do it. Because ultimately, you know, it's a landmark, right? But we want it to also be part of our let's see what I'm looking for. Part of our contribution to the community when we're not here any longer, that we were one of the ones that actually gave some respect to this building and restored it. And, you know, the landscape has been not really cared for very well even, right? It's a secondary thing, but we cleared a lot of the clutter out of there when we purchased the property, but it even needs land. The parking lot's in terrible shape too.
Well,
So.
Dave, wasn't the front entrance was modified too?
Not the front was the little winding step that's never been touched. What was done is a little addition on the west side. That was an addition and directed by the owner at that time, John. I don't remember his last name. I keep remembering is that he was full-blooded Cherokee.
No kidding.
He worked as and was operated, trying to revive the restaurant business on it. He did not succeed in the long run.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously the building's had a lot of modifications. The backside of the building, there was an addition built probably by the Brazen Head. And that seems like that was the kitchen area back there. Yeah, you probably remember it better. Like, I just look at the floors and the ceilings and stuff to do my own interpretation, but anyway, we want to respect the building, but it definitely needs a lot of maintenance and there's logs that are rotten on it. It's not in bad shape, but
It's showing its age.
yeah, and it's only going to deteriorate more, right? So we even had a little bit of issues in insuring it when we purchased it because of the condition of the logs, and that's not good for us, and it's not good for the building that those logs continue to deteriorate, right?
Well, you should contact either Dave or I. I think David's got a business card. I don't. But I'm a person that when you are ready to start defining some of these improvements, to give me a call and I can the grant opportunities through History Colorado are very complicated. So I always have to keep reminding myself what you can do and what you can't do. There's non-competitive and competitive grants. So there might be a way to help you with some of that maintenance through History Colorado, since you're a commercial business. And I've got all the contacts up there, but I would need to know exactly what it is you're trying to do. But you should at least look into that to see what you can get, if there's opportunities for you to get some money from the state.
Well, and especially since you have the local designation.
Yeah.
You're already a leg up,
Yeah,
because they would want that, the
Right.
way I understand it. They would
Exactly.
want that before you even
Yeah,
pursue it further. So you've already got that to go forward.
Mhm.
And it doesn't hurt to ask, that's for sure.
yeah,
We know the dollars have changed and shifted, but the
They
state
have.
of Colorado at least does have several pots of money that might be
yes.
accessible.
Most of the history fund is comes from gambling.
Mm.
So their money's not running out. But there's a lot of people asking.
Too bad it's not marijuana money.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
keep us in mind when you're getting ready
Yeah.
to do some things, and if there's some big dollar items.
Mm-hmm.
But the money doesn't come fast,
Mm.
right? So it requires some long-term planning.
Yeah.
But
But
phasing.
Yes.
But they're good at that, right?
yes,
Yeah, and you know, our priorities for this year are the parking lot that really needs to be addressed. And I don't know if you would have any opinions about the parking lot or not, but that's something we want to move forward with this summer.
yeah.
In terms of,
Fisher, Colorado would be more inclined to do structure, not to the property. But there's other opportunities through brownfields and EPA also that could offer opportunities for those parts. So.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about funding as much as just, are there any, you know, would you have
Concerns.
any input on our parking lot? as a committee?
drainage away from the building.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no drainage inside the building. Well, all that
Yeah.
happen outside.
I mean,
Yeah,
I guess things change over time. I mean, you do have quite a parking area
Yes.
out there, and that has changed over time, because,
yeah.
yeah, I don't remember it being quite so expansive. I think some things.
No, it just got graded out even just as a matter of convenience.
Yeah,
And no, nothing to do with site gravel, parking lots, so. If you wanna talk about a parking plan that works, I could work independently on that. I've removed a number of them around because everybody engages their brain as they should on parking lot plans. I'm afraid, because you do need convenience, you need to park your vehicles there, you've got your show vehicles there, but you don't need all of that.
So, but with regard to the structure, it's my understanding from the code, and I'm a little rusty, I haven't read it like this past week or two, but if they were wanting to like change a roof line, do an addition, really kind of reconfigure windows, that is something that should be reviewed by this committee before a permit gets issued, according to the way I read our regulations. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but this group looks at that, and depending upon the scope of what's being proposed, potentially would cause you to lose the historic designation, that they may find that it detracts sufficiently from the building that it's no longer, you know, viable as a historic landmark. But when you're doing like for like kind of things, this committee historically has not been as concerned, correct, Lori?
right, that's correct. And I do recall when Will Brown came to talk to us, what I'm remembering is he was getting ready to put a new roof on. And we had quite a discussion with him about the color. And
Yes.
what, you're remembering that too, Dave? And we had a discussion specifically about what would be more representative of the time period and so on and so forth. I don't know that he went with what we suggested, but I do know we had quite a conversation. Is that what you
Yeah,
remember too?
oh, yeah, no, there was some bidding, I don't know that he even did it himself. Might have
Yeah, I
got the
don't
building sold, I think it went to somebody else who at least got a fairly palatable color on it. I don't know if you've done any more, but it's just kind of there.
Green metal roof.
Yeah, so we had that discussion with him specifically about that
Okay.
and the pros and cons, because we were concerned about,
Losing its integrity.
yeah, at the time. And I don't think at that time he was concerned about, maybe he was, the logs, the shape of the logs and things like that.
That didn't come up much, there's a question about covering everything up to get insulated walls on, which is historically damaging.
Oh,
From the
if you cover
sounds of
exterior
it,
roof,
you wouldn't be
a new
happy.
fascia or something.
Right, yeah, so we had that discussion. But again, a property owner's free to do whatever they want, but if
Yeah.
you want to get the ideas of the integrity of the original building and architecture, you know, having those conversations, because we can't prevent anything from happening or not, just like.
Well, we don't have any intentions of changing the building in any significant way. Our DDE grant that we just got approved for, what we want to do is the historic door that was there is a steel fire door that somebody installed, right? And we want it to be more functional. We'd actually like it to aesthetically be more attractive from the highway and actually have some lighting on it so that it would actually showcase the building a little bit more without trying to light up the entire building like a bank would do, right? It's more just the front facade of the building is make that look better.
For the
refresh.
Brazen Head days, I think it was a wooden door that was quite thick.
Yes,
I figured that's what it
A
was.
tongue and groove type of thing.
Yeah,
Across
tongue and
books
groove,
and-
and it has
Okay.
big black metal strapping material, is that right? So I do remember that.
Yeah.
So, you know, so, and it was a big heavy door to open and you went into a vestibule and then you went through another door to go into the bar.
Yes.
Right, yeah, it'd be nice to have a picture of what that door would look like. I know Vicky had a picture next door. She had one that had just a very thin vertical window in the center of it. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, it sounds familiar to me.
So
Yeah.
she had, probably has a
Was it
picture.
arched?
I think it was ours.
I think it was arched.
Oh, it was actually arched.
I
too.
think so, I think.
Yeah,
it
you
was
can kind of
arched.
tell that they filled in the opening and stuff, so. Anyway, but we want to just make that door more attractive, more
Sure.
functional than it is right now. Because it was really an emergency escape door is the way I think the hospital.
That's,
managed it.
but they changed it because that was the front door and that's how.
Yeah.
Right, it just kind of became an
See, I
escape.
went back to when I was 10 years old, so.
That's impressive. But anyway, so that, and then, there's inside that kind of walled area, the stairs there. There's just, I don't know what it always has been there, but it was just dirt when we bought it, and just to keep it more cleanly, we just put mulch in there.
Sure.
But what we really wanna do is just do some kind of a patio in there so that it's fire. Because, you know, something that's a paid patio is gonna be better for fire than wood chips, or certainly. And just have it be functional for social space. Also, like I have a table there.
So you want to create the front door as a front door again, basically.
Well, it wouldn't be our front door, but it would look like closer to what the historic front door looked like. And I don't know if that space was ever used as a patio, and I don't have any references.
Of course, by the door.
So, the curve wall that goes towards the entrance that you designed kind of encloses a space between the historic door and that new, the new entry area there, and there's just kind of a space next to the building that I'm not sure if it's ever been used. But that's where the giant 200-year-old tree is in that space too.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's what we want to do, is just kind of make it more fireproof, but also a little more functional space instead of just being wood chips and,
Sure.
And, the rocks too, the stairs, it definitely need some.
Mason work.
well, we got cracks going in those because of that 200-year-old pine tree that's leaning up against them, so we want to stabilize that and just clean it basically.
So I don't know so obviously there could be some resources here
Yeah.
for you guys to reach out to maybe get some more input, at least with the familiarity of what was at that building. And the work that Dave has done on it in the past,
Mhm.
but.
So would changing a door trigger a requirement for a permit? It would be my first question.
Not a door replacement, on just, one replacement, that's not as long as the hardware on it doesn't violate codes as an exit. Which is
Yeah,
really
opens
like
up
there's an
wording.
exit anyway.
Yeah, we don't have the volume of people inside that a restaurant would have, though. You need to have those types of escape doors, you know, kind of thing. I don't think. We're just offices, right?
So something like that wouldn't trigger the need to pull a permit, if you were just changing out your door. And
You're right, I'm thinking that it falls into repair work, which is no big deal anyway.
Drew, your grant application would have been looked at by Dave Burgess in the planning department.
Yeah.
And he would have sent some feedback
Yeah, I
back to
did see
Anita, so,
It just wasn't specific enough to say whether you need a permit for a door. It just said anything we do would need to be presented to this committee is basically is what it's,
okay,
which is really
Um,
just maintenance items is kind of the way I see it, but
then
the
perhaps,
patio is a new item, right? So does the patio need a permit?
was that on your
On the
list?
ground, not attached to the building, not having a roof over it, it's landscape, so that is
It's
not,
considered landscape.
that's not a code control item, other than there is something in the landscape ordinances with the city of Woodland Park, but it's pretty.
Lighting would be probably the one thing, right? We would just need to make sure we don't violate the city's lighting code. Because we do want to feature the building with the lighting, right? It just has to be the right lighting, so I can talk with, you know, Dave about that or CJ about that, so.
CJ's no longer with
Oh,
us,
okay.
so, but the rest of my team is pretty well versed, so Dave,
Yeah.
Grant is another great resource downstairs.
Okay, sounds good.
But we'll get you your answers.
Yeah, so I guess the question is how do we proceed with, you know, choosing the door design? style, and I don't know how you can help us with that process. Because we do want to, move forward with that. Our deadline is October to get that whole project finished with the DDA, so that's our first priority this year.
I wonder if it would behoove you in your decision to also, you've got Dave as a resource, having worked on the building, is to ask Steve what he remembers too. So
Mhm.
that you can pick, so
Yeah.
that, or if he has any pictures in his.
Yeah.
I don't,
Repertoire,
my familiarity at that time in 1980 was far.
yeah.
Okay, very good.
No,
So,
but I did work on the place, have some familiarity and look at the challenges of keeping things up to trying to work with today's standards in energy coding, technology of roofing, waterproofing.
Well, I've been talking to a lot of log restoration companies about the exterior maintenance and stuff, and they all have different opinions about how it should be done and to look
There's
at.
not one way to do it, then.
Right.
And there's expense associated with every aspect, so
Oh,
it is.
so many.
It's very labor intensive.
Well, a log building that size, right, those are not a dime a dozen, and 2 stories on one side, and, it's, there's a lot of challenges with it, but it has to be done, so.
Anyway, it's just my personal opinion that some improvement on the parking to keep that working instead of raw gravel would go a long ways for the presentation of the building. And make it a live spot. That's a personal opinion. That's not a subject of this committee.
Gotcha, yeah.
and by pulling somebody like Dave in too, though, to think about how to do the paving. If you're not gonna do the stuff on the building first, and you wanna do the paving first to improve that, taking into account what you might be wanting to do in the future.
Mhm.
There's nothing worse than chopping up your paving after you've paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
And I'm a landscape architect by training, so I have a
Oh,
good idea of
you're there.
how I want to do the landscape in the parking lot, but with that said, the history of the building is what I'm trying to get to, and
Sure.
the permit requirements are the things I want to make sure that we do it the best way possible, so.
sounds like permits will be minimal and Karen's staff can.
Yeah.
With the down.
We can still just consult with you then before we.
Yeah, I just touch base with Dave's probably the best resource downstairs right now, but
Yeah.
it's worth the
For the
phone
door
call.
and this lighting, or just the lighting, you think?
Definitely the lighting. And I just don't know on the door. Because I deal with other things down there. I'm not as dialed into
Yeah.
that, but I made a note for him.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'm not sure if we've
I'm
got.
gonna try to find that picture that Vicky has of the original door, because that would be a good place to start on
Yeah.
the style of it and stuff. So we might end up having to do a custom door because we're not gonna find one at Home Depot.
No.
We'll have to see what the cost ends up being out there. So,
It's a heavy old door.
Only if we go to a vintage market and start looking for old doors.
yeah.
It's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just respecting it and trying to do that and putting it back together is cool. That's great, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, we just recently did some finishing work in the first level we're building when our tenant moved out. So, the previous owners never really finished the remodeling downstairs, so that's, if anybody wants to take a look at the building, either upstairs or downstairs, we'd love to have you over and look at it. But we just basically, concrete floor that was never finished, we just basically put vinyl on that and finish painting and trim work and stuff like that, so it's looking better than what it has before now, that first floor. Just because, again, it never really got finished by the previous owners.
Now what we need to do is to make that fireplace work, because it's not working at this moment. Currently, there's no.
Yeah, we need to
no
have a
ways.
fireplace company inspect it if you have any references for that.
Yeah.
To know whether it's stable, first of all, you don't want chimney falling over. And then second, how's the draft working and stuff like that, so. That's more of a, yeah, and that fireplace is in your office, so.
That's right.
I don't want it to.
Very
fall.
attractive, yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Have we been helpful?
Very, very helpful, yeah, I
Yeah.
think so, and it's nice to see everyone. I don't know if we've met before, but I think I've met everybody else before, and we talked over at, I think, at Independence Day.
We did.
Yeah, so it's good to see you again, Larry. Yeah, if anybody would ever like to come by and, look for some ghosts.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, River Creek is gonna have something, an event going on, I think this month or the following month.
About ghosts?
About ghosts, yes,
Oh.
listening ghosts,
Yeah, somebody was
small
asking.
businesses, yeah.
So one of the people that used to, when there was a doctor's office or a hospital downstairs, she told me that she was the one that had the tunnel sealed off on our side of the building, because she said the ghosts were just bothering her constantly. And so just once she sealed it off, it seemed to at least slow it down. I don't know how that would slow it down, but she said it made a difference once she had it sealed off.
They weren't traversing back and forth. They weren't. Yeah.
Yeah. And people always ask us about the tunnel, and I'm like, well, you realize there's a city sewer main going right through where that tunnel was before, so. Yeah, so if there's a tunnel, it's going into a city sewer main now, so.
I thought it'd be
Maybe the
nice,
ghosts are in the city sewer main now.
I thought it'd be a nice doctor's office. I
Uh-huh.
had 3 different doctors that were in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was cool,
Oh, yeah.
better than UC Health.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we think it's even cooler now, so.
It's really.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, Irene.
If you need to bounce something back,
Okay.
get hold of us.
We're here.
Okay.
Yes,
Sounds
yes,
good.
definitely, thank you.
This group meets the first Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
But if you get if there's something you want to run past
Next
them,
month, we'll get on.
if you can let me know at least a week in advance, or if you got pictures, we can include that in the packet when it goes out to them.
Yeah.
But at least a week prior to get stuff to
Okay,
me,
yeah.
and we can make that happen for you. Make sure you're
Sounds great.
clearly on the agenda
Yeah.
as opposed to sending out updates.
Yes, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we'll put that on our calendar, so we appreciate it.
How can we communicate with you and with you?
Just look up architects in Woodland Park and we're, there's not very many others.
Did you have business cards?
No.
If you want to write it down.
Give them
Give them a piece of your paper,
I might still have your email from years ago, Dave.
take a picture of that. You-
Hasn't changed.
And we're in the same office, oh, also long
You
hair.
can just take a piece of your paper.
You can have that.
And Angelica was wondering why everybody refers to the building as the Brazen Head. We know what the Brazen Head was, but there's many things before that, so.
There was many things before that, so the latest generations knew it
Popularity,
as the
basically.
Brazen Head, so the casino that went before and the other things, what was it? I forget what it was called, but none of us were alive and our parents weren't alive at the time that it was whatever it used to be, so what we all knew it as.
Yeah, they'll put you down.
The Brazen Head.
It was the name of the restaurant and bar, it was the Brazen.
Then the plate says Circa and other names below, and I was
Correct.
like, oh, why the
That's-
Brazen Head, not the first one?
Steve Clute knows the answer to that.
Well, we put that on the plaque though.
You put it on the plaque?
We put the older names of what it's
This
original.
Brazen
But what it-
Yeah.
That's how we chose to put it on there, I do believe. But it's because of in the sixties and seventies.
Yeah, cause it was, we had the Uray and then we had.
The Uray
Bristol,
Inn, wasn't it?
I think that was the original.
And Circa.
I've done all the research on McMahon, right? He was involved with everything illegal you could possibly do.
He's one of the many ones,
And
yes.
one of them,
There were quite a few.
must have been quite the character.
Interesting reading his war, yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Okay, guys, so just going back and looking at this, I'm just gonna share on 4E Bergstrom Park. I know that, I paid attention to the DDA meeting this morning. The city's asking the DDA for, I think it was $160,000 to start shovel ready type project back behind towards Vector parking area to begin some of that. And I think it was tabled for further discussion. So that hasn't, so
This is planning money?
it's actually project. I think there's gonna be more discussion at the next DDA meeting, but I do know that the city, I was asking DDA for that $160,000 to start some of that Do you have any insight into any of that?
I do not, I'm sorry, and I missed the meeting.
Okay, well, I
That's
just-
the things.
I just saw it on a little bit on Zoom, but apparently there's an interest on the city's part to move forward with some of the construction of dirt work back towards the parking area for Vector there on the south side, back on that side. But the city's asking the DDA for 160 grand, and the DDA felt, in my opinion, felt a little blindsided. It sounded like, and so they wanted to table it until the next meeting, until they could get some more, the DDA could get more information about what the city was looking to do.
So this is once again the opportunity for brownfields money.
I know,
Yeah,
just saying.
brownfields.
I'm just sharing that. Let's see, there's no update on the 250, 150.
Oh, hang on,
Yeah,
so we did 4A, we did 4E.
yeah, I skipped over Junction House. Maybe we should go back up, because Linda, you did, we did have a little bit of an update on the conversation that we had with Robert's house. As far as learning more with the brownfield, if you, in our minutes from last time, the brownfield report and some of the opportunity that might be available.
Yes, the Brownsfields,
So this is 4B.
this is 4B.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did talk to, KSU TAB. They are, and they gave us a couple suggestions on how to proceed, but mostly, the woman that was included from the city, is her name Kimberly? Who's in finance director?
Was it Kimberly that was with us or who?
Jessica,
Jessica, it's somebody newer. Is Jessica
She's brand
newer?
new.
Jessica's newer.
It's Jessica.
Okay, Jessica, that was it.
Yeah.
And as far as I was concerned, as soon as the meeting was over, she said she was taking this over. I'm out of the loop. So
Who's taking it over?
Jessica is going to look into the funding opportunities through the brownfields. And she's gonna look into the state EPA fund as opposed to the federal EPA fund as a starting place. But the KSU state, KSU TAB is perfectly willing to offer planning
Assistance.
assistance.
And
Yes.
do the planning on it.
And do the planning. The first step is to get it evaluated, and that's where the state EPA fund would come into, but Jessica said they were doing it, so I'm out of the loop.
So ideally we need to follow up with Jessica to see what she's doing.
I did, and she said that she's doing it, and Aaron told her to just look into it.
Okay,
So I was officially knocked off the list of helping.
okay.
I'm available to help, but it doesn't sound like they want my help.
So the whole idea was with the Roberts property with the asbestos was for us to look for Brownsfields and to look for opportunity for asbestos work to get
Yes.
started.
And I was absolutely 100% confirmed through the KSU tab. That yes, this property does qualify for brownfields funding,
Yeah. So we could get,
which would include an entire set of plans,
right.
design,
So-
planning.
So Karen, actually, we do not understand Jessica's role. And we had included her in on this.
I had originally contacted Aaron, trying to get somebody from the city
To participate.
staff to come to my office and watch the Brownsfields session.
Right,
And to then be involved with my contact when I contacted KSU TAB. And Aaron's response was that they'd already looked into brownfields and that the city did not qualify, which was not correct. And that nobody on the staff was available to participate in watching the session. However, he did pass the information on, and that's where Jessica came in.
okay.
So then Jessica contacted me, and we clarified a few things about what Brownsfields was. And then when I contacted KSU Tab and set up a Zoom meeting, I asked Jessica if she wanted to be involved and she did. So we
So
included her.
Jessica, myself,
Yeah,
and Linda were involved with the Brownsfield to find out that
Yeah.
they would do a whole lot of stuff at no charge.
no charge.
But the city, as the municipality, would have to be
They're the contact.
They're
I
the
can't do
contact.
it. I can't do it.
that's the way it works. So,
Yeah,
and right now, we don't know what the direction is from Aaron or what Jessica's doing. We
No.
just tried to get the ball rolling on it. Okay. So that's kind of
That's
an
it.
accurate overview of what
Yep.
we did.
yep. I can't take it from here any further.
Okay,
So
so,
be the
right,
city.
so right now. Okay, Templeton, I know of no update on Templeton at
No.
this point. We're still, based on the minutes from before are still accurate. We are not moving forward at this point
We have not had any response from Aaron
from Aaron about moving forward.
about moving
Okay,
forward.
so that still stands wherever we were. Preservation plan. We did learn that there were monies available. if I
Yes.
remember correctly.
But we have to apply for it.
But we have to apply for it, and the deadline for that was October 1, I believe, something
Yes.
like that, so that's something we can readdress. Okay, so that's where we are there. Birchland Park, I shared with you with what the latest request, the DDA this morning, we talked about raising it. The A250, C150 celebration. Nothing's really changed there, but except there is what is in our minutes from before is still applicable. And I know the city's gonna be setting up at the farmer's market and participating in talking to Nicole. So things are moving, at least there's definitely some activity there. And then just to reaffirm, Lois, we did clean the mural on the side of the cultural center, for the minutes, whenever it was. It was a cold day. Did not warm up. It's supposed to. Anyway, Lois has gotten a great start. So if you guys just go by there and see the areas she's worked on, it is really
I've seen it.
popping out.
Yay.
Today she finished up most of the train faces. The panel that has the train, she still needs to do the flowers and some things, but all the faces have been redone, and boy, it's just come right out of the wall.
That's cool.
So she's moving right along, and she's working all this week through next Tuesday. And then she has to fly out to do a wedding somewhere, wedding portraits, and then she'll be back in another week to pick up again and start on. So it's coming along. And I'll meet with Jeff Cahill. We're gonna Lois and I are gonna meet with Jeff to review possible graffiti coatings, because the graffiti coating that was put on there originally, Sherwin-Williams doesn't offer that product anymore. And from what we understand, per EPA, its makeup is not environmentally friendly. So it's gonna cause some great consternation trying to find so we're gonna get Jeff's. As a sign maker, he's got a lot of opinions about it, so we're at least gonna get his input on it or protecting it after she's done. So I can share that with you. The Henrietta, those folks at 107 West Henrietta are still interested. in
Yeah,
this.
they're working on a tenant finish and they're just,
They're at-
I haven't been pushed on them.
Right, okay, but they're still interested.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully this Lynn, David and Eric will be back. Hopefully they'll see some value in it.
I'll keep pushing.
Okay. I just wanna, I'm gonna skip the Voss building for just a second. I'm gonna go to 5E on the poster. I did get Dave the names of the 5 women with a little that the Historical Society and the new documentary is going to highlight. That was my action item from the last meeting. So,
For everybody's information, those are the 5. I desperately need photos. I have not I haven't gotten direct contact with Mike, I believe his name was. Who's the active one here? There's Mike and Maria. Who's the active personnel there behind this, you know?
Active personnel where?
at the Historical Society,
Yes,
So
well,
Mike,
wherever the names came from.
Mike Bryant
Mhm.
is the one I got the names from.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the secretary treasurer of the Historical Society. And, Charlie, let's see. Uh, You know what, we probably should reach out to Michael or Charlie and even Steve and see if we can get some pictures of these ladies.
Mhm.
Okay, so those are gonna be our key players, Charlie, Michael, and Steve. And Steve's probably gonna be our best bet, actually getting our hands on the pictures. Of these
Exactly.
ladies.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, that's what you need, get some ideas on concept, but how is this appropriately titled, since it's not necessarily, or it's not, within the city limits of Woodland Park, it's not, it's a historical poster, but not strictly, city of Woodland Park, and it approaches outside of Teller County, but.
well, most of these women actually, I thought lived in Woodland Park, and Anna Mae Wellington's connection is gonna be because she was a photographer of the whole area.
Yes. I don't have any pictures that she took included in the package.
Let's get some pictures, and then maybe that'll help Dave put your arms around the context
Sure.
of it.
Any inspirations on what this addresses, it's the scope of it, since it's, we want to make use of it all out of valuable historical interest, but it's not, like I said, strictly limited.
I wonder what they're gonna call
Important
it.
people, important women of,
I think you need to know their stories to
no,
possibly
they're not
pull.
the same stories, so they,
Again, I think you need to know their stories possibly to see if there's some common themes. Or if there's distinct features about each of them that then might help frame what you're looking for. I don't think you have enough info to kind of get that creative process kind of going.
Didn't I send you
we've got
the narratives on each of the women?
yeah, and they're real extensive. I've gone through them, but not in detail with that, looking for that,
theme.
looking for the theme piece.
Or, you know what, maybe we can get something from the director, because he's having to come up with a theme and a thread.
A complementary version of that would be, good, I think, mutually supportive.
I will poke around and see if I can get some more information, because the director's been in town first part of May. And I think they made some progress on where they're at. Because when I got you that original information, they had not really begun to put their syllabus or whatever they're going
That'd be
to.
wonderful if we could
Sure.
pack together a little bit.
Yeah.
What you
So let me see, so I'll see what else I can get for you, okay?
It's fantastic.
All right, so that's where we're at there. The banner went up and the banner has come down.
I took it down
What about?
yesterday, thanks to Lyndon's reminder.
Oh, all right,
I remembered it over the weekend and,
Thanks, Jerry.
no, that was easy, thanks.
cool. Okay, I want to jump back up to the Voss building.
Before you start on that, I would like to remind you, you have a public hearing related to designation of that building scheduled for your next meeting on July 7th. So discussion about that really is not advisable.
Would you clarify that, please? Why do we have something coming before us that we can't,
Because it's a
Okay.
noticed public hearing.
and that is coming up?
Yes, it's scheduled for your next meeting, July 7th.
So then we can talk about it. I don't understand why we could be involved with it, supporting it, in initiating it, and not be able to have it as a discussion.
It's scheduled for discussion for your July 7th meeting. So it's part of a hearing that you guys do to discuss and review it as for its historic designation. So since that's an upcoming public hearing, this would be considered an ex parte discussion to talk about it outside the context of that notice public hearing. That's the disclaimer, that's the guidance from staff. I defer to the chair.
And my understanding is the reason that our city liaison is not here is because council had a retreat yesterday. Were you at that retreat?
Very briefly in the morning for a
In the
short
morning.
while.
So council was at that retreat and council was advised by the city attorney, he was advised to not attend this meeting
Since this was on the agenda.
since Voss Building is on our agenda and there are other things going on that I know you guys know about because you're working with said owner with Andrew. So my concern is that we as a committee appear to be in direct conflict with the city of Woodland Park's direction. But we as an HPC committee are charged with our bylaws to be part of this process that apparently is going on, but we are not part of that process. And I guess my question to the city and Aaron is why aren't we involved and why as a committee and a group when it's in our purview to be part of such a thing? And that I'm just puzzled. I'm very confused why we have been cut out of discussions. And I know we're walking fine lines here because you guys have a private business and we've been involved with this. And we specifically made a request at our last HPC meeting asking, can the city not back off a little bit to give the property owner an opportunity to make good and respond? And it's like, what, since when do we go after private property to this degree? And private property owners, we've never done this in this community before.
And without being able to even so much as discuss it.
Correct. And so I'm just, as a committee, I feel like we're sitting over here, we're a black sheep, period. Don't put that in the minutes either.
I'll say it again, you can't.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I don't understand. And I would love if somebody would just be transparent with us. We're not bad guys. We just want to understand, and we committed ourselves as a committee to helping restore and get this building back on track.
We are under oath to do so, under
Yes.
the auspices of the city and responsible for
Yes, we are.
improvement of the city. We are under oath. And we're
Yes.
denied to the ability to do that job.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just confused. Okay, let's move on. We're just not gonna go anywhere with this. Committee member reports. Larry, I'm gonna start with you.
I've been wanting to get the Murrays here since last summer.
Good job.
Finally, it worked. And they said yes, and they came. But I've been in contact with them from fall, early spring. And he said, when can we come? And finally, he said, yes, they're gonna come. So it's taken a year to get the Murrays here, but I will pump them up. I will be involved. And I feel it will happen. That will put their application in and it will be a success. So that is my project. Finally,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Lauren.
Okay, anything else to share with us?
That's it at the Murrays.
My only comment is I will not be here for the July 7th meeting, but I would have to recuse myself from that vote anyway. So, I am actively helping Andrew with his current dilemma with the city. So I will not be voting and I will not be here.
Okay. Super duper. But you're right.
But I wouldn't be able to vote anyway.
But you could. So Karen, even if she was here, she would recuse herself from voting, but she could participate in the dialogue. No, not even that. The best thing would be for her to recuse.
For a clean record, yes.
Okay.
The best thing is full
just
refusal and
Got it, okay.
Question with that, is it's considered a public hearing? I'm in the same situation.
yes,
After
it
this
is.
point where I'm asking questions, I'll have my comments as part of the committee, but when it comes to this building, it definitely would be a recuse situation. Understanding in the past, the way it's operated is that there was allowed to be called on, allowed to be aspect of discussion in the nature of a public person.
Yeah,
So
how
could
I remember
Glenn-
it from Roberts is we were just not allowed to vote.
Yes,
Could Linda and David, though, if they were out on the floor at a table, they could, as be working with the property owner, they could testify, if you will, to what was being done with the building, could they not?
I would need to check with legal counsel on that.
We need to know,
Yeah.
big time.
I'm actually.
Because I know you're gonna be
Yeah.
gone, but if David can be there, we need to know that. Please.
Yep.
I don't understand why this is such a big issue, because with Robert's house, we had no issue with this at all.
when I've represented variances in the past, and also any relationship to anybody on that, recused on voting rights, limited on legal rights on it. But it was a necessary part of the discussion as a professional, as a citizen, and possessing information of what was happening relative to this subject. That was a requirement, not a refusal to participate.
But that was in front of other boards and like Board of Adjustments, not one where you were a member of the committee.
But if they are abstaining and not participating in the role of the
I'm
committee.
gonna find out.
Yeah.
The way I was gonna phrase the question is specifically, David, I was gonna ask if you can represent the owner in that hearing. Is that accurate?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wanna make sure.
It's not there. The problem is what I'm allowed to do here in, what I'm allowed to do here.
Right, that's the question for the public hearing on July 7th. I'm gonna ask our legal counsel if you would not be serving as a member of the committee in that meeting, that can you serve, or fill it as the capacity as a representative for the building owner?
Yes.
So that's the question I'm seeking clarification for.
Be changing hats and.
Yes, yes,
Okay. Thank you.
yep.
Eric, thank you for taking care of the sign for us.
It's very easy and I had help putting it up. It's all good.
Anything else to share with us?
Not having.
David, do you have anything else to share with us? Okay, what I have to share is, I'm going in for surgery on July 10th. So I'll be here for the 7th. And I'm gonna have surgery in Denver. And I will be in the hospital 1 to 2 weeks. That's all I know. And
Well, it is
because-
kind of public, so I don't
with
know how
this-
much you want to share, since this is being recorded right now, Laurie. So
Okay.
if you want to fill in
Just-
other
I just
details
want- I just
after.
want you guys to know, there's a good chance I'll be back for the August meeting, okay? All right,
We're
so
planning
that's,
on it.
okay, maybe not, maybe I'll be on the Zoom.
Okay,
So having said that, that's it on that, and then
excuse me, I'm sorry.
we know CJ is no longer with us,
No, it's not.
and you've got an open position to fill.
I do. I'm actively recruiting for a replacement planner. Not sure how long it'll take, especially when you look across the state. There's a half a dozen similar positions, so it's good to be a planner.
There's a demand, yes.
But yeah, no, we're actively recruiting and, obviously hopeful to get somebody pretty skilled in that role.
Okay.
Because it would be definitely helpful to the team downstairs.
Sure, okay,
So. And then with other DDA grants, the only other one I'm aware of that's a historic building, it was Dana's Dance had asked for some funding from DDA to do some improvements. And one of the things I was aware that they wanted to do was some paint to paint the building. So I'm double checking like what's the paint color? Because last year the Calhan, they repainted their building, but it was the same color.
remind me, is it wainscoting rock, or is it, that building's rock?
I don't know.
The facade is rock. It's stucco on the side up the alley.
Yeah, no, it's
Is that
that.
It's the whole frontage is, and it has like a 2-foot return, a little bit on the side of wall thickness. Look, and then goes to stuff.
Yeah, so my understanding was like the back walls, but
If we could understand,
okay.
I wouldn't think they'd be taking it off,
I don't believe so.
just the stucco.
And you got the DDA mini grant application from Andrew too. right?
To sandblast.
I'm sorry, what?
You got the DDA mini grant application from the Voss building owner as well, too.
Like very recently?
Yeah, it should be in this last batch that came in, the 40, I think, and
I'd
you
have to-
told me 48 applications came.
They were working on them today, and I didn't get a chance to get any kind of update today in terms of where they were.
Oh,
Okay, thanks.
remind me, please.
Okay.
Anything else, Karen?
I do not have anything else.
On that note, I think we're adjourned.
Good.
We can be part. We can be part. We're longer than usual because we had so many guests on.
But it was sure nice to see
6:07,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
how excited they are about history.
Which is.
I agree.
Times Square.
What's today's? Oh, nice.
June 7th.
Thank you.